At the turn of the 20th century, the 10,000 islands of southwest Florida were one of the last true frontiers in America. A labyrinth of saltwater mangroves, shell mounds, and swamps, where the law rarely traveled. On the afternoon of October 24, 1910, Edgar Watson steered his gasoline launch toward the shallow shore outside Ted Smallwood's trading post. Watson was a successful sugarcane planter, an alleged outlaw, and a man feared from Arkansas to the Florida Keys. Waiting for him on the beach were over 20 local homesteaders, armed with rifles and shotguns. When the smoke cleared, Watson lay dead in the shallows, struck more than 30 times. But how did a prosperous sugar farmer become the target of one of the most famous vigilante standoffs in Florida history? Edgar Watson was born in South Carolina in 1855, but by the late 1880s, he was running in the violent Indian Territory of Oklahoma. In 1889, the infamous female outlaw Belle Starr was ambushed and killed near her home. Watson was arrested as the prime suspect, but for a lack of concrete evidence, the charges were dismissed. Still, suspicion followed him everywhere. Seeking a fresh start, Watson made his way to Florida. In Arcadia, another violent dispute ended in gunfire, leaving a man dead. Claiming self-defense, Watson slipped even further south, disappearing into the deepest backcountry of the Everglades, Chatham Bend. Chatham Bend was a prehistoric 40-acre Calusa shell mound rising along the Chatham River. There, Watson built a remarkably modern agricultural empire. He cleared acres of land and grew winter vegetables. He produced thousands of gallons of high-grade cane syrup, shipping barrels directly to markets in Key West and Fort Myers. To run the plantation, Watson hired drifters, seasonal laborers, and men running from their own pasts. But rumors began drifting up the coast. Local lore called it Watson's Payday. Stories circulated that when the season's work was finished, certain hands never made it back to town to collect their cash, disappearing forever into the swamps. While much of it was rumor, the paranoia among the isolated island families was very real. In mid-October 1910, the cyclone of 5 days, a Category 4 hurricane, tore through southwest Florida. It destroyed homesteads and cut off all communication with mainland authorities. In the chaos following the storm, the islanders' worst fears materialized. The bodies of plantation workers Green Waller and Hannah Smith were discovered near Chatham Bend. Watson blamed the killings on his missing foreman, an outlaw named Leslie Cox. He claimed he had chased Cox down and shot him in the river. But with no body ever recovered to prove Cox was dead, the islanders believed Watson was behind the murders. On October 24th, Watson returned as promised, stepping off his launch onto the beach. There, roughly 20 armed locals had gathered on the porch and shore of Smallwood's store. According to accounts recorded by Ted Smallwood, Watson raised his double-barrel shotgun and pulled the trigger, but the gun only clicked. The shells had been soaked in the hurricane's flooding, and they were shells Smallwood himself had sold him. In that single misfired second, every failing that followed Watson finally caught up to him. The crowd opened fire in unison. Because dozens of shots were loosed at once by virtually every able-bodied man present, the local inquest could not pin the fatal shot on any single person. No formal charges were ever filed. Watson's death was officially deemed an act of community defense, a killing everyone witnessed and no one answered for. Edgar Watson was buried first on nearby Rabbit Key before his family relocated his remains. Today, the historic Smallwood store still stands on its pilings over Chokoloskee Bay, preserved almost exactly as it was on that October afternoon. The legend of Bloody Watson remains a chilling reminder of an era when frontier justice ruled the edge of the Everglades. If you enjoyed this case file, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which regional legend we should investigate next.